World of Warcraft Dragonflight has recently been announced, and the hype is kind of real. You know, there's big dragons, Alexstrasza's gotten quite a nice glow up, and obviously we've got Stony Tony, who's made us feel more emotions in that small cinematic despite not speaking than we've had from the Jailer for the past few years. Now, when the expansion launches, we're going to be heading to the Dragon Isles, and that raises a lot of questions, but I have a bigger question, well, at least to me at the very moment, mainly because the Tuskarr are getting a big visual update, which is quite exciting, and I think that this is planning for Blizzard to start gearing up for a new allied race. Now, yes, this is going to be some very heavy theory crafting, but I think there's a few reasons as why this could happen, and why this could be a really fun idea, so let's just jump right in. So who are the Tuskarr exactly? Well, they're a race of humanoid walrus-like people which are native to the lands of Northrend. We've seen them all the way back in Warcraft 3, and we've seen them quite heavily when it came to Wrath of the Lich King. Now, they do have various different settlements around Borean Tundra, Dragonblight, and Howling for Horde, and obviously the nature of how a MMO works means that it doesn't really show the real true scope and scale of things, so we don't know exactly how many Tuskarr there are. But we do know the following: they are a simple, peaceful folk. They are traders and fishermen. They're not a race that actively looks for conflict, but will defend with a lot of ferocity if they are threatened in any way, shape, or form, especially when you live in the lands of Northrend where there's loads of Scourge. You kind of need to know how to fight. They are a properly established race in the Warcraft universe, and we can see that they've got their own culture, they've got their own architecture. Everything that you're seeing on screen right now is their own thing. They have their own identity, and let's be honest, they're just kind of cool. I've loved these adorable guys since Wrath, and I just kind of want to see them more, which is great because we know that in Dragonflight we're going to be seeing Tuskarr once again, and it looks like they're bringing everything that we know from this race up to a high resolution. I mean, look at this screenshot on screen right now. This is for Dragonflight promo stuff, and I mean, it's cool. We're seeing that the Tuskarr now have been updated. Now they're able to wear more armor, which is fantastic because, you know, most of them in Northrend were just kind of naked and, you know, Northrend is kind of cold. But it's great as we're already seeing little bits of armor being put on them. There's a new mount, which is an otter, and you can see it there. I mean, just look at it, right? It's so adorable. Plus, this was something from a previous event. I think they had a student art contest. So it's great to see that finally being brought into the game. But this made me question a lot of things. Why are the Tuskarr getting updated now? Yes, Blizzard do that every now and then, where, like, say for example the ogres, the gnolls are getting updated too in Dragonflight, but why the Tuskarr specifically, considering that they're so popular and such a highly requested faction, well, race to join the World of Warcraft playable roster? I think it's because they might be gearing for a new allied race, and there's a few reasons why to kind of justify that, so let's talk about that. First up, yeah, so the Tuskarr looks like it shares a bit of the same model rig, maybe even a bit of the actual model itself as the Pandaren, which, if it comes to the whole allied race scenario, a lot of the same stuff has to be reused. It's just kind of reskinned and all that, and this works really well, because if it's using the same rig, that means it'll have similar animations, it'll just need a few changes here and there, but it looks like it's to the point of kind of mirroring that of a Pandaren. Obviously, I'm referring to the lower parts of the torso and obviously the arms. This is a male Pandaren more, but not the chest, because the chest itself is a bit more lean when it comes to a Pandaren. But it's not impossible for a decent amount of the rig to be shared throughout different types of characters, races, and pretty much anything else. We'll obviously be able to confirm that later on down the line when a public beta is out, so that means that the data miners can find everything. But at the moment, I still choose to hold out hope, and there's a lot of reasons why. I can even give you a little bit of a possible storyline here. The largest concentration of Tuskarr that we know of are in Northrend, and we know that Northrend is a pretty volatile place at the moment since the defeat of the Jailer. The Scourge are running rampant, and it's probably not safe for a race which generally tries to keep as peaceful as possible. So naturally, if they're feeling like they're going to get overwhelmed, it would make sense for a race which is known to travel around a bit to decide maybe Northrend's not the best place to be at nowadays. So they've decided to pack up and move, and they've gone to the closest continent, which so happens to be the Dragon Isles. There they found a new area which kind of suits to what they want. They want it nice and cold, they want loads of fish around, so they're going to settle by the shore, and they can just chill. They know that the dragons themselves are pretty harmless as they try to keep as neutral as possible themselves, so why not settle down here? But obviously, as we are aware, well, the Dragon Isles is going to be the main expansion, so the Horde Alliance are going there. Mind you, they're going as explorers more than anything else, but still, you know, villains will prop up, and it might threaten the Tuskarr too. Plus, right now we know next to nothing about the Dragon Isles, so who's to say there's not a natural predator there lying in wait? Something that might have reawoken at the same time as the Isles did. So with the Tuskarr being threatened once again, they look towards possible allies or possible help. The Horde and Alliance have just recently arrived, and it only makes sense for us to send a diplomat, you know? How about the biggest Mary Sue of them all, the player character? So you can go there and introduce yourself, help them out, do some quests, build up some reputation, you know, the usual stuff. And then maybe eventually down the line, maybe a patch or two in, maybe we can bring them into the fold. But you might be wondering now, who would the Tuskarr join? The Horde and the Alliance do have some qualities that kind of fit them both. And this is why I'm saying both. Make them a neutral allied race where you have the choice to pick. I mean, if they're going to use some of the internal rigging and so on for the Pandaren, why not some of the code too, where they'll be able to decide? You as the player could then decide, right, I want to join the Horde because they fit my Tuskarr's theme a lot better, or I feel like the Alliance is a bit more chill, so I want to happily fish in the canals of Stormwind. There you go. Everything works out kind of well, as it brings an element of choice, which I think is great. Plus, we already know that we've got two races which can do that, the Pandaren and obviously our scaly dragon boys, which is why I thought, well, this would be the perfect time for a neutral allied race. If we're going to get another neutral race introduced with the Dracfear, why not a neutral allied race too? Complement it really well. They can even have their own hubs in, well, near the capital cities in most cases. So, say for example, if they join the Horde, the Tuskarr could settle at the docks next to Orgrimmar because, well, that's where lots of expeditions go and all that. It's ocean. They could easily have a little bit of area a little bit further down from the docks themselves, so there's a nice area that they can actually just settle. Then, when it comes to the Alliance, well, Stormwind Docks works quite well, or they could go into the lake where, you know, the Pandaren are. It kind of fits quite well. I guess both races would work well together. Then, if we go into possible classes, I mean, it's pretty simple enough. First, we'd have Warrior, because pretty much everyone barring the Dracfear can be Warrior. Then we'd have a Hunter, because, I mean, you know, these guys are natural hunters, mostly fishermen, but it kind of translates quite well. They could even start off with a Walrus pet, because, you know. A strange one would be Rogue, and I'm only saying that because they would share the same animations as the Pandaren, which I guess is good enough to justify. It's still a bit weird thinking of a sneaky walrus, but I guess sneaky walrus. The same thing would be said about the shamans. Again, sharing animations, it's just easy enough to translate. That is, of course, if they end up sharing the same rig. We don't know that just yet. I'm just going with the general gist of this, because let's be honest, Blizzard does reuse a lot of assets, a lot of animations, and a lot of rigging. And it's nothing against Blizzard, it's smart. A lot of companies do that, so they might as well have mages. The same thing would be about shamans, but shamans kind of fits with the lore of them too, so have some differently themed totems, and there you go. I think that honestly fits with the theme. And then finally I'd say druids. Just because they need to have enough classes, it'd work out like the Zandalari, so they wouldn't really have unique animals, but just some Walrus-style things. I mean, even then, the tank form could literally just be a bear and just have like a Walrus-themed cat or something. I don't know. And finally, Death Knights. I know. Too many Death Knights as it is, and the last integration of Death Knights was because of Shadowlands. But the Tuskarr have been in Northrend during pretty much every little bit of drama that was there, so it's not that hard to say that there could be Tuskarr Death Knights just roaming around in different locations, and now they're just appearing now. As for a racial mount, well, the otter's there, and it's kind of cute, so otters? I mean, they weren't known to ride on giant turtles, but we already have turtles with the Pandaren, so yeah, I mean, otters. Who doesn't want otters? We know in lore they have their own language, so that kind of fits with the whole RP aspect. Honestly, the only thing that I can't think of is what they would have for their own racial traits, because, well, there's a lot of races in World of Warcraft as it is, so it's kind of hard to just think of, well, this could work, but this hasn't been done before. Either way, I think that the Tuskarr could be a great allied race option. They're very popular as it stands. They've gotten the updated model, and look, I just like them. I just really, really like them. So much so that I decided to make a video. The first ever video on this channel is Tuskarr. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I just really wanted a cool allied race. The other ones have been nice. I really like the Mag'har. I really like, say, for example, the Void Elves. They're all cool. But Tuskarr would be super awesome because it's a race from Warcraft 3, you know, it's a long time ago. I'm still holding out hope that more older races will come in. I'm still holding out hope for ogres. I know I should give up at this point, but yeah. Anyways, let me know what you guys think and hopefully you guys enjoy. This is something new for me.